You're watching News Central Television. This is News Central Now. I am Benga Aborowa, and these are the top stories at this hour. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu arrives in United Arab Emirates for 2025 Abu Dhabi Sustainability Summit. Many vigilantes allegedly killed in Nigerian military era. And thousands flee Sudan town amidst escalating clashes. We'll bring you the details shortly. Let's begin the news by telling you that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu arrived in Abu Dhabi early on Sunday morning to attend the 2025 Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week, ADSW, an annual global event focusing on sustainable development. Touching down at 2:14 a.m. local time, the Nigerian president was received by UAE's Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Sheikh Shakabut Nayan Al Nayan. This year's summit, themed The Nexus of Next, Supercharging Sustainable Progress, will feature President Tinubu showcasing Nigeria's strides in energy sufficiency, transportation, modernization, public health, and economic growth. The president's participation highlights Nigeria's dedication to addressing global sustainability challenges through innovation and international collaboration. In addition to delivering remarks, President Tinubu is expected to hold bilateral meetings with UAE leaders to deepen ties and explore mutual opportunities. He's scheduled to return to Nigeria on Thursday, January the 16th. Nigeria's former leader, President Olusegun Obasanjo, has recalled how former President of the United States of America, late Jimmy Carter, stuck out his neck to save his life by seeking his release from prison under the late head of state, General Sani Abacha. Obasanjo revealed this on Sunday at a memorial service held in the honor of his late friend, President Jimmy Carter, paying glowing tributes to the American leader, whom he described as a titan and man of peace. The former Nigerian president also said Carter paid a visit to Abacha solely to plead for his release.
I became a victim of a militaristic man, Sani Abacha, who wanted to rule Nigeria perpetually till the end of his life. President Carter was one of my foreign friends who stuck their necks out to save my life and to seek my release from prison. On President Carter's visit to Nigeria, he got Abacha to agree to take me from detention to house arrest on my farm, but that did not last for too long. Many other friends and leaders intervened, but President Carter was the only non-African leader, according to my information, that paid a visit to Abacha solely to plead for my relief. I will remain ever grateful to all who work for my relief. I will remain ever grateful to all who work for my relief from Abacha's gulag.
The Nigerian House of Representatives is advancing its anti-corruption efforts with the introduction of a bill aimed at encouraging whistleblowers to expose corrupt practices, particularly in the public sector. The proposed legislation includes strict penalties for breaches of confidentiality, with offenders facing fines of up to 2 million naira or 2 years imprisonment. Lawmakers are set to debate the bill's general principles when plenary resumes on January the 14th, 2025. Originally read on the floor of the House on the 21st of November 2024, the whistleblowing bill seeks to establish a comprehensive legal and institutional framework for regulating whistleblowing activities and protecting whistleblowers across the country. Spokesperson for the House, Akin Rotimi, says the bill aims to facilitate the disclosure of unlawful activities that impact governance, national security, and the management of public and private offices. The bill is expected to undergo further legislative scrutiny as the House reconvenes next week. Observers see it as a significant step in Nigeria's ongoing fight against corruption. The federal government is under fire from the opposition over alleged mismanagement of 234 billion naira allocated for the postponed 2023 national census, with claims that the funds were diverted to finance election campaigns. Under former President Muhammadu Buhari, the National Population Commission proposed a budget of approximately 800 billion naira for the population and housing census, with 224 billion disbursed by May 2023. An additional 10 billion naira was approved in 2020 for enumeration area demarcation in 546 local government areas. Originally scheduled for May 2023, the census was postponed to allow the incoming administration to make its input. However, 17 months into President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's tenure, no date has been set, sparking concerns about the impact on governance, economic planning and resource allocation. Labour Party National Publicity Secretary Obiora Ifo alleged in an interview that the funds were used to influence the 2023 elections in favour of the ruling party. He questioned why the Tinubu administration has yet to account for the funds or reschedule the census. In response, the ruling party dismissed the claim as baseless, insisting there is no truth to the allegations. Now to security matters. The Nigerian Air Force airstrikes on Saturday mistakenly hit operatives of the Zamfara State Community Protection Guard, Vigilantes and some residents of Tugarkara community in Maradun local government area of Zamfara State following a raid by bandits in the area. Media reports gathered that local vigilantes and residents who mobilized to defend the community were caught in the strike. So far, 16 bodies have been retrieved, but the final death toll still uncertain as rescue efforts continue. Residents of Tugarkara are now calling for an investigation into the tragic error and for support to be provided to the affected families. The military authorities have yet to issue an official statement on the incident, but the tragedy underscores the challenges of combating insecurity in Zamfara State. Staying in northern Nigeria, in a major offensive still on security matters, the Nigerian police has called on officers and men to imbibe professionalism in the discharge of their duties. The Assistant Inspector General of Police Zone 1 headquarters in Kano, northwest Nigeria, made the call after decorating newly promoted officers of the zone. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu reports.
A very significant event at the Zone 1 headquarters of the Nigerian police in Kano. The event being witnessed by many, including friends, family, popular Islamic cleric and commander of the Kano Hisbah Board, Aminu Daurawa. The AIG, after decorrecting the senior officers, tasked them to live up to expectations of the public, saying that the new ranks are not for formalities.
The promotees should know that they have actually now more responsibilities. The office is embedded with more. You have to work hard. You have to actually show that, yes, you want that promotion. You have to actually work hard to prove that that promotion, you want it.
Influential Islamic cleric and commander of the Kano Hisbah Board expressed gratitude to the police, saying that the business community in Kano continues to rely on their expertise. Everyone is asleep with their families while you are awake on patrol, either with sticks or with guns. You are just interested in securing everyone. You want the public to sleep. You want the public to be happy. You want everyone to be comfortable. Those that want to pray will pray. Those that want to sleep will sleep. Those doing businesses will do their businesses. This type of work have great reward if one put his or her mind into it.
Thanking the Almighty Allah for keeping us alive to witness this very special day in our lives, or in our career rather. And I want to equally express my gratitude to the Inspector General of Police who deemed it fit to promote us to the next rank, and to our amiable AIG and his management team
The police in Kano say they will introduce more innovation in the year 2025 to boost their fight against crime. In Kano, for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu late last year gave orders to residents of the Makoko community to move 100 to 120 meters away from power lines. This order issued is said to be about building control in all its ramifications and not construction and demolition alone, but the welfare of the average residents. In this vein, Realtor Femi Rogers has urged prospective landowners to understand the intricacies of property ownership before going into development of acquired property. News Central's Bettina Whaley had recently paid a visit to the Makoko sites and reported that sand filling was currently ongoing while families who live in the area are battling for survival. Now, join us live to discuss this and more. We have a licensed realtor, Mr. Femi Rogers. Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Mr. Rogers.
Thank you for having me, Benga.
Now, building safety near power lines, what are the key safety considerations when construction buildings near power lines, and how do these regulations, like the one issued in Makoko, helps mitigate potential risk?
Yes, thank you. Ordinarily, I'm sure that the government did not provide those land for the people that are building, or provide any sort of approval to build lines under the power line. There are zoning laws where the government they're going to make laws on what to use, what you are going to use the piece of land available for. Now, what happens here is the main problem we have in Lagos and Nigeria as a whole is that the government are not regulating those laws. The primary duty of the government is to provide law and regulate it. But while they are focused on doing other things like building projects, I hear government building large housing schemes, they do not oversee their primary duty, and that allows people to go there and build under those power lines. And now they're coming down and saying they want to demolish those homes.
So it should have been enforced in the first place.
Say that again.
The laws should have been enforced in the first place, rather than wait for people to build informal settlements and then act retrospectively.
That's exactly what I'm saying. The government should focus on regulating the laws that are already enacted. They have laws, they have zoning laws for every piece of land in Lagos. But what happens is that they allow people to build community. You know, it takes a long time for you to build a community, to build 200, 300 homes that they are about to demolish. What was the government looking at when these homes are being built? The main problem we have is that the government is not focused on their primary duty, which is regulating the laws that they've already enacted. They focus more. What I see basically that is happening is they go and build homes, they go and build projects. Governors are building projects, they are building communities. This should be left for developers. What they should do is provide enabling society, enabling environments, funding for developers and property managers to do all these projects while they sit back and regulate.
Now, Mr. Femi Rogers, beyond construction safety, a reporter was in Makoko. We saw that report in our subsequent bulletins, and the residents are saying, look, they have very short notice, and if they move 100 meters to 120 meters as recommended by the government, it would affect their houses, and they don't have anywhere to go. What should the government, what is the role of the government here in providing some aspect of welfare for development in informal settlements and densely populated areas of the state?
Most of this population are poor people that really cannot afford to have homes. And now they are being dislodged from their accommodation. The government should provide, there should be planning. If you're coming in to dislodge these people, then you should also provide homes for them. Because in the first case, part of the problem is because you did not do your job. So yes, government should provide accommodation for them elsewhere. And this is an opportunity for the government to actually redevelop or gentrify some of these areas. I think this happened with VI back in the days when they had the slum. Makoko, yes, that's what happened. And they used the opportunity to regentrify the area. So they relocated these people. So it's not entirely a bad thing to move people out if there is a plan. The problem I see, like what is happening in Abuja, is I'm not sure the government has a plan to provide for these people. What they are just doing is they are, destroying and demolishing without having a backup plan to make sure that they use that to reduce housing deficits and whatever problem that we have. I remember during Airstrike, he did the same thing, destroyed all the homes that were built without documents in Abuja, and then 10, 20 years down the line, they came back and do the same thing. So this shows that there is something wrong with the way the government is working.
They should be more proactive. Now, Mr. Rogers, what are some of the critical factors prospective landowners need to understand about land ownership? You did talk about the government not regulating the laws, not doing their jobs. But as a consumer, as a citizen, what critical factors do prospective landowners need to understand? Do they need to understand about land ownership, particularly in informal settlements where title deeds and land tenure may not be clearly established?
So I believe that most people understand that when you buy a land, there should be some documentation behind it. And what typically happens is that this is very difficult to get in most state governments in Nigeria. Landowners should know that when they buy a land, they should go straight to the government to regularize the document they got from whoever sold the land to them. Now, I don't absolutely blame landowners that do not know what to do, because the government they're not putting out the information there, and they're not making it easy for people to regularize, to collect their COO, to get a COO or whatever documents they need to get. But landowners should do due diligence to know that, first of all, they're buying from the right person. And this can be difficult also, because in other countries, it's very easy to know who owns this piece of land and who you are buying for. And there's also processes set. This is why I'm saying that the government should focus more on regulating and providing all these systems so that it becomes seamless for somebody to buy a land, to do their due diligence and get their papers after that. Difficulties in getting these make people just go, settle wherever they like. And of course, the government does not come until 10, 20 years later to, tell them, look, we have done you are contravening. So a lot of the problems and the solution lies in enacting laws and regulating the laws in the states.
Thank you so much for your time and expertise, Femi Rogers. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you, Benga.
You're watching News Central now. APC party chieftains in Abia talk tough ahead of 2027. We'll bring you details of this and more after the break. Join us again. You're welcome back. Earlier in the week, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, proposed a budget of 126 billion naira for its 2025 operations, citing the rising cost of conducting elections in Nigeria. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu expressed concern that the approved 40 billion naira for 2024 will be inadequate to cover the Commission's activities for the upcoming year. Yakubu underscored the financial burden of organizing 21 by-elections nationwide, with 11 still pending. He stressed that the Commission's activities are highly capital-intensive, necessitating substantial funding. To ensure the efficient and timely execution of elections, he proposed that election funding be sourced directly from the Federation account.
Honorable Bob, you touched on a very, very important issue. We need a big, major conversation in this country. Nigeria has no election season any longer. I said earlier that in Ghana, they conducted only 3 by-elections between one general election and another. In our own case, even before the midterm, vacancies have now occurred in 21 constituencies. But not only that, we also have 8 governorship elections conducted off-cycle. So the Commission is conducting elections virtually all year round. We have little time to recover our senses and begin to plan for the next election. For instance, in the election year 2023, we conducted 3 off-cycle governorship elections. The registered voters in some of the states is actually bigger than some of the countries in our sub-region. In Edo State, for instance, with 2.5 million registered voters, they have more voters than the Republic of Liberia. So a governorship election in Ondo is like Edo is like a governorship election in Liberia. The state with the smallest number of registered voters in Nigeria is Ekiti. Ekiti has more registered voters than the Republic of Gambia, and it has more registered voters than Guinea-Bissau and Cape Verde put together. So conducting election in Nigeria is huge. Then we come to the issue.
Talking politics, the All Progressive Congress in Abia State may be having a swell time with the desire of more sons and daughters of the state to join the party. The senator representing Abia North Senatorial Zone, Oji Uzokalu, says the attraction is not far-fetched. Also, the state chairman of the party, Kingsley Onogbu, and one of the newest members, Kelvin Jumbo, says the party will serve the state better come 2027.
In Abreba, we have done it before, we will do it again. With the courage and the ability of my brother, Abreba Bukwa APC, Ameke Bu APC, Amogu Bu
The most distinguished and the action senator of Abia North.
Well, they have seen what I have done here as a senator, and the support I had both from President Mohamed Buhari and President Ahmed Tinubu. Both presidents have supported me in the budgeting period to support our party here. President Tinubu is doing, our president is doing, is bringing more people. We're also bringing more people in the party. So people are excited. They know we can go places.
I expect to get the opportunity to do something significant. Just expect if we take over Abia State in 2027, you will see more action, verifiable action.
I think it's all about alignment of values. I have gone to where their value aligns with my agenda and initiative as a person.
Staying in Abia State, apparently in an effort to convert waste to wealth and adequately manage refuse, Abia State government says it's making a plan to introduce sorting of waste by homes, companies, corporate establishments, schools and markets. Special Assistant to Governor Alex Oti on Climate Change and Sustainability, Edith Aja, says this method is being considered because of what the government plans to achieve with it. News Central's Chinwe Ogele has more.
In 2008, the Abia State government entered into a tripartite agreement with the Federal Ministry of Environment and Phoenix Company for waste collection and management in Abia State. The aim then was to recycle waste and convert them into brand new items, but this initiative died almost as soon as it was signed. It's been 19 years since that contract failed, but Abia State government is making plans to turn waste into raw materials now.
We have to recycle the waste, and also have to keep the state clean. Yeah, so if those things are separated, it will make for easy recycling of the waste.
The Special Assistant to Governor Alex Oti on Climate Change and Sustainability, Edith Aja, says by the end of 2025, the state would have developed something tangible from waste.
We have a waste intervention coming for 2025, and part of what we promised the partners that we would do is to design such segregation strategies for waste direct from source, from household.
She says this will be made easier with the sorting of waste generated in homes, business areas, schools, corporate offices, and hospitals.
If we are able to segregate from source, we hope that we will set up recycling centers across the state. And then one of the things we're planning to do in 2025, we're planning to put up a waste to wealth program where people can manufacture something from waste. So we promised our partners that we will develop a waste truck from the waste we generate in Abia.
Some of the residents wonder how it will be possible to get people sort their waste.
That would have been the best, but you know our people, they cannot do it. Some homes can do it, but others cannot. Others are even so busy to eat, so they cannot do it, but that would have been the best.
Yet, to others, it is achievable.
With proper orientation, they can. Through radio advertisements and television advertisements, they can do that. There's nothing that cannot be learned. That's what I believe.
In October of 2024, Abia State was set to be generating a total of 236,703 tons of waste monthly, with Umuahia accounting for 70 truckloads of domestic and commercial waste, while Aba contributes a staggering 200 truckloads daily. In Umuahia, for News Central, I am Shinwa Igeli.
In a country as dynamic and diverse as Nigeria, the inclusion of youth and women in key sectors like politics and other influential sectors remain a pressing issue. Today, we explore the barriers young people and women face in gaining seats at the decision-making table. News Central's Chidinma Onap has more on this developing story.
In Nigeria, the youth population is growing. Yet their voices often go unheard in the corridors of power. Despite their energy and potential, young Nigerians encounter numerous challenges that hinder their participation in politics and other influential sectors.
I believe the first thing to do is to ensure that there is more engagement of young people at the grassroots level. And before that engagement should start, there should be a form of capacity building, we are only as good as what we have already consumed in our minds as young people. So if the only thing we have been able to consume now allows us to just, want to run away from the country, want to leave the country, then anytime you bring us to the table, the only thing we want to think about is how can we facilitate more ease of access to be able to run away.
You cannot govern people that you do not relate with. So young people are needed in governance to be able to lead or drive initiatives that are targeted towards them because they understand their concerns.
While youth struggle for representation, women face an equally daunting battle. Despite strides in gender equality, the lack of inclusiveness in politics and other areas remains glaring. Weighing in on the discussion is the wife of the former governor of Oyo State, Bola Ladoja.
Some men always see women as a weakling. Even if you are better than the men around you, they still see you as a weakling. And the first thing when you go for your interviews, especially when they have any chance or any opportunity, is just to want to, take advantage. I won't say more than that. First of all, must be visionary. And you must be resilient, and you must make up your mind that you want to achieve what you want to achieve.
Women face a lot of challenges. The first one is scarcity of opportunities. And the second one is lack of education. We thank God that things are getting better. There's more awareness. But certainly we need to do more to educate our women more and to also avail them more opportunities in politics and in every other facet of our life as a people.
As Nigeria looks to the future, the call for greater inclusion of youth and women grows louder. The road ahead may be challenging, but with intentional efforts, change is possible. In Lagos, reporting for News Central, I am Chidinma Ona.
The Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors is calling for an improved salary structure for healthcare workers, expressing concerns over the refusal by the government to pay several benefits. News Central's correspondent Idong Joseph has more on the story.
In Nigeria, the remuneration of healthcare workers is primarily determined by the Consolidated Health Salary Structure and the Consolidated Medical Salary Structure. These structures separate healthcare professionals into different categories based on their qualifications, experience, and job roles, ensuring a standardized approach to compensation across the sector. As of 2024, the salary from level 7 to level 15 averaged between 155,000 naira and 566,000 naira per month. Though public sector workers are entitled to various allowances such as hazard allowance and shift allowance amongst others, some of these benefits only exist on paper and are not fully implemented.
There are several emoluments that is supposed to come from the government to health workers, and some of these emoluments they are not seen.
Our hazard allowance, which was increased from 5,000 naira to 35,000 naira, has not been fully implemented. I think we still get the 35,000 naira occasionally.
Health sector professionals are calling on the government to fully implement these benefits.
The salary structure of an average medical worker in Nigeria can just keep him afloat, not really to be too comfortable, take your children to the best schools or have the nicest apartments, or just live a comfortable life.
If there is an improvement in this salary structure, it may in a way serve as a way of encouragement to them or stimulate them and increase their enthusiasm concerning the workforce, the health workforce, so that better service delivery can be given.
Some others are calling for improved medical infrastructure.
As much as we want to create more health facility, have we thought about the infrastructure that will be there, the manpower, the health worker that will be, that will serve in this facility? So these things we should make it go pari passu, so that
all the sectors are, there are challenges. There's need for more money, but we have. We commend the government for even what they are giving already, and we want to make sure that we want to step up our sector, the civil society sector. We want to make sure that this money is well utilized.
With over 653 billion naira proposed in the 2025 budget for the health sector as capital expenditure, it is hoped that when passed, this investment will lead to better infrastructure than what currently exists. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idong Joseph.
You're watching News Central now. Coming up on the news, thousands flee Sudan town amidst escalating clashes. We'll bring you details of this and more after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Chad's National Election Management Agency has certified the results of the legislative, provincial and local elections held on December the 29th, 2024. Announcing the certification, the agency's chairman, Ahmed Barakchiret, noted that voter turnout was moderate despite earlier projections of low participation. The elections marked a significant milestone as voters returned to the polls after 3 years of military rule. However, the process was marred by a boycott call from opposition candidates who continue to dispute the legitimacy of last year's presidential election, alleging fraud. Observers are closely monitoring the aftermath of the polls as Chad navigates its transition back to civilian governance amidst ongoing political tensions.
Au regard des résultats
un certain nombre de partis politiques se détachent du lot. Il s'agit notamment du MPS, de RNDT Le Réveil, de l'UNDR, de RDP, du PLD et du PCS. Tous les résultats détaillés sont publiés sur le site de l'Ange. Cependant, il est à noter que les scrutins qui se sont tenus un dimanche, un jour de culte pour les chrétiens et en pleine période de fête de fin d'année, ont mobilisé moyennement les électeurs avec un taux de participation de 51,56% pour les élections législatives et provinciales et de 50,41% pour les élections communales.
In East Africa, thousands have fled a town in southern Sudan since clashes erupted last week between the Sudanese army and rival paramilitaries. The United Nations Migration Agency confirmed on Sunday. The conflict in Sudan, which erupted in April 2023, has pitted the forces of Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan against his former deputy Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, who leads the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF. According to the United Nations International Organization for Migration, in just 5 days, between 1,000 and 3,000 households have been forced to leave Rawaba town in the southern region of North Kordofan state. This is News Central now. Still ahead, 6 killed in Czech restaurant fire. We'll bring you details of this and more after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Rescue services on Sunday said a restaurant fire in a northwestern city of the Czech Republic killed 6 people and injured 8 in a suspected heating accident. A fire spread extremely fast after a patio gas heater was probably knocked over, the local fire service posted on Facebook. The fire broke out in a wooden beer garden adjacent to the Ukorjota restaurant at a housing estate in the city of Most, about 70 kilometers northwest of the Czech capital, Prague. All 8 were rushed to the hospital with burns, and 6 of them are currently in critical conditions. Interior Minister Vít Rakusan told Czech radio the cause was likely a propane-butane heater overturning in the restaurant's front garden. Now, according to the United States Geological Survey, a magnitude 6.2 earthquake shook a part of southwest Mexico on Sunday, although no immediate reports of damage or injuries were made. The tremors was centered 8 kilometers from Colcoman de Vasquez Palares, a municipality of around 20,000 people, which is about 600 kilometers west of the capital, Mexico City. The quake struck at a depth of 86.2 kilometers. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum on social media platform X stated the country's emergency services have reported no new developments and are starting the evaluation procedures in Colcoman. On sports, new Super Eagles head coach Eric Sekou-Chelle and his 3 assistants have arrived in Nigeria's capital Abuja ahead of their unveiling on Monday. The ceremony scheduled by Nigerian Football Federation for 11 a.m. in the conference room of the National Stadium, MK Abiola National Stadium, Abuja. Will see the federation officially announce the names of Coach Chelle's assistants with the crew to shepherd the Super Eagles B team at next month's African Nations Championships in East Africa. Taylor's primary task is to revive Nigeria's 2026 World Cup qualification hopes, with qualifiers resuming in March. The Super Eagles will face Rwanda before going away to Zimbabwe Currently, Nigeria is second bottom in the group with 3 points from 4 matches. Rwanda leads with 7 points, followed by South Africa and Benin also with 7. Lesotho sits 4th with 5 points, while Zimbabwe is last with 2. Chile and his team are also expected to manage the Super Eagles B squad at next month's African Nations Championships in East Africa before focusing on World Cup qualifiers. Media aid to the Rivers State Sports Commissioner Sami Wejinya has been banned from all Nigerian Professional Football League activities, including access to league venues until the end of the season. The sanction follows an investigation into the article titled Lafia, Pain, Blood and Escaping Death by Whiskers, which was deemed to misrepresent events from the Nasarawa United versus Rivers United match. NPFL officials found the articles exaggerated and made false claims harmful to the reputation of the league's image. Virginia has been urged to avoid action that undermines the credibility of the NPFL in the future. The decision aims to protect the integrity of the Football League and ensure responsible football reporting. South African football giants Orlando Pirates booked their place in the CAF Champions League knockout stages with a commanding 2-0 victory over Belouizdad in Group C at Orlando Stadium on Sunday. The Buccaneers controlled much of the game with goals from Relebohile Mofokeng and Talente Mbatha sealing the win. Despite early dominance, Pirates initially struggled to break through Belouizdad's defense. Their persistence paid off in the 19th minute when Sheffield Faxo Ambassadors deflected short of force goalkeeper Mustafa Zegba into an error, allowing Mafokeng to capitalize from a tight angle. Dion Horto's creative play on the left flank added pressure to the Algerians, while Pirates maintained their lead through the first half. Mbatha's second half strike confirmed the Soweto side sport in the next round. In tennis, German second seed Alexander Zverev began his quest for maiden Grand Slam title with a commanding straight set win over French wildcard Lucas Pouille in the Australian Open first round. The 27-year-old, a Melbourne semi-finalist last year, secured a 6-4, 6-4, 6-4 victory, facing only 2 break points throughout the match. Zverev will now face Spain's Pedro Martinez in the second round, despite Pouille's past credentials, including the 2019 semi-final appearance. The world number 2 comfortably controlled the match. Zverev is still seeking for his first major title, having fallen short in key moments, including a semi-final defeat in Melbourne last year and a runner-up finish to Carlos Alcaraz at Roland Garros. His clinical start in Melbourne marks a promising step forward in breaking the Grand Slam barrier in his 10th Australian Open appearance. And that's all on the news at this hour, but before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has arrived in the United Arab Emirates for 2025 Abu Dhabi Sustainability Summit. Many vigilantes allegedly killed in Nigerian military era. We also told you that thousands have fled Sudanese town amidst escalating clashes. That's all on the news at this hour. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Benga Aboroa.